Good day to you. My name is Conor McMillen. I am in Wyoming, the Wyoming side of the Grand National Tetons. I'll duck down for a second, let the camera focus. Can't really ask for a better recording studio than this. Absolutely powerful, epic, beautiful place to be. I'm very grateful for it. So today I want to talk about how to use IFS with the external, with the influence of interacting with the outside world. A lot of therapeutic modalities, IFS in particular, really goes inward, right? And we're really spending a lot of time inside, which is fantastic and very necessary. But how much of our lives
Are you
are we
interested
spending
in becoming an
inside
IFS coach?
versus
The self
outside?
leadership coaching training
Perhaps there
might be
is
a great fit
some
for you.
kind of
I have a
ideal
link in the
state
description
where
box
we sort of
down below where you can get all
function
the
with
information.
both,
Reach out to me
we're
with any
tuned
questions.
in internally. I think this is the present place of self, where we are consciously aware of our engagement externally. But in reality, how often are we able to access that state? I think the more that you practice IFS or meditation or some kind of modality that does bring you more into presence, the more that you do function from that state. But it's highly unlikely, unrealistic, and too idealistic to imagine functioning like that full time. So we have this external world, what we're always interacting with, and it's always interacting with us. And sometimes things happen that trigger parts of us to come forward and to feel sometimes very, very intensely. And some of these things are like really simple, and they just happen. It has nothing to do with how we show up or how we feel when we wake up that morning. Things just come in. The sun just kind of broke through the clouds, and it's like, I think I don't know. I mean, last night it was like 35 degrees. So when I woke up in my van, I think it was maybe 40 in there. And it's amazing how much warmer it is when the sun is like I swear it feels like a 10-degree temperature difference versus a cloud in front of the sun.
Are you interested in becoming an IFS coach? The self leadership coaching training might be a great fit for you. I have a link in the description box down below where you can get all the information. Reach out to me with any questions.
So I have a couple examples of things that can just kind of come into our lives and create states, trigger us into states that maybe bring up all kinds of different emotions. There's two examples I have for you that I think we all have experienced. So one is driving, and somebody cuts you off, or somebody does something that creates in you different parts, but you don't even recognize it as parts in that moment, right? Something just happens, and what happens is you feel suddenly you have a state change. And that could be fear, it could be anxiety, it could be anger, frustration. It could also be sadness. Like what? Like why? Like, oh, all kinds of different emotions, most of which are challenging. It's very unusual someone cuts you off in traffic and you feel, just like peace and love. Maybe that is, again, an idealized state. Maybe one day, or on the best day possible, you can actually feel that way. You can have immediate compassion for them, and you can feel very peaceful and loving. But realistically, that's not going to happen. you know, it's not really going to happen, and that's okay. So what happened is, like, something externally gets into your field, it interacts with you, and it brings forward emotion. Sometimes these states of emotion can be very, very intense, and they don't necessarily match with reality. So maybe, somebody cuts you off. It is dangerous. It did stop your momentum. It's reasonable to have an emotional reaction. Absolutely. But is it reasonable for that emotional reaction to be like way up here? And is it reasonable for that emotional reaction to sustain itself for hours and hours, sometimes even days and days, sometimes even weeks and weeks? A month later, you're laying in bed about to sleep and you think about this person who cut you off and you feel emotion. Is that reasonable? Another great example is dropping a glass in your kitchen. You're filling up a water glass or getting a cup of coffee. You do this every day and it works out. But on this day, for some reason, it doesn't. And the glass slips and it shatters. And you feel all this emotion for this broken glass. And yeah, like maybe you loved that glass. Maybe that was like a really special glass to you for some reason. And maybe now there's actual danger, shards of glass all around you. And maybe your 3-year-old is coming into the kitchen right at that time that you broke the glass, and you have to run over and stop them in order to protect them from the danger of getting glass in their foot. So it's reasonable that you have emotion from this. But to what degree? 15 years ago, when I would break things, man, was I angry. I would curse. I would break more things. No, I don't think I broke more things. I wasn't really, when I got angry, I still get angry, by the way, but when I got angry 15 years ago, it was different than the way I get angry now. It really enveloped me. And there's some people when they get angry, they break things. I wasn't ever like that. But I did feel the energy of that. Like I just want to destroy everything. Like that was my level of anger because I broke a glass. I used to live in Massachusetts, and during the winter, this happened a multiple of times. I would use mason jars for coffee in the morning, and the mason jars were inside of the cabinet, and the cabinet didn't have great insulation. And so I would take out this very cold mason jar and then pour this very hot coffee in it. And what happens in that case? The bottom cracks and all your coffee comes out, and you've got this big mess. That must have happened to me half a dozen times. And every time, man, was I angry. So a certain amount of emotion in these situations is totally appropriate. But is it reasonable for it to be the size or for it to be sustained in the amount of time that it takes to kind of move through that emotion? Is that reasonable? So I want to distinguish something for you right away and say 100% it is reasonable for a part of you. So we're not making these parts wrong. What we are attempting to do is bring in more of our adult self, of our present self-led energy, calm, curious, compassionate. So these external things that are coming into our life, whether we're prompting them, we're existing with them, or interacting with them, or they're just coming in and they're just interacting with us. If these things are bringing up emotion that does not reasonably equate to the reality, then it is an opportunity for us to be with these emotions in a way that perhaps we have not yet been with. So I really think of this as an opportunity. If you're able to identify that there's some amount of emotion, fear, frustration, sadness, overwhelm, stress, anger, that does not really match reality. And you can look at that for a moment and be like, I mean, yeah, I broke this glass and yeah, it was a little stressful. I had to help my 3-year-old not get glass in her foot. I had to jump into this protective role very quickly. I hadn't even had my cup of coffee yet. Like, yeah, it's reasonable. I feel something about that. But is it reasonable that I'm still brewing on it 4 hours later? Is it still reasonable that I feel the tension of it when I go to bed at night? Probably not. And so that place of questioning, we would encourage that to be coming from self energy. And in the questioning, in developing more of a meta view or a self awareness place, we are calling self energy forward. And when we do that, then we actually have a container for that emotion to be felt. This is the key piece of this video I'm about to explain to you right now. These parts, these emotions that come up that are so big when the external interacts with us, that do not match with reality, the level to which they are coming in and being felt or being experienced or messaging us. These emotions have nothing to do with the external that you just experienced. Those emotions have been there since you were most likely very, 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 very young. And what they are coming in to do is to be felt by you. Now, within the IFS understanding or theory, there could be a lot of different reasons that these emotions or these parts are coming in. There could be a messaging system that says, hey, I'm trying to protect you from experiencing more pain. And I'm doing that by doing this job of getting you frustrated or getting you into a state of fear or feeling sadness or whatever the thing is that this protector is doing. And we can follow those protocols through, absolutely. But in my opinion, what all of these protocols are helping us do, they're giving us a trail to follow so that ultimately we can feel our feelings more in depth. Because this is the lost opportunity. When we were kids, when we were really, really young, and we experienced things that were very intense, as most of life is for a 3-month-old or a 3-year-old or a 13-year-old. There's a lot of life happening that is extremely intense. And at those ages, how much opportunity did you have to have a safe place to fully feel the intensity of external? All of this input coming in and impacting you. And you're feeling so much at these ages, at these young ages. What kind of safe space did you have to really feel? Even in the best case parenting situations, I guarantee you that you were not always able to feel those feelings in depth. And so those feelings are still in your system. And again, from an IFS perspective, they have developed story and they have developed different roles. And we can use those protocols with great efficacy in order to kind of help them integrate into the system. But simply put, what we are doing is we're going back in time and we're feeling those feelings that were not able to be fully felt at the time that they were experienced. They're coming up now in intensity so that we can be with them. It has nothing to do with this glass. It has nothing to do with this person who cut you off. And you don't have to understand where it originally came from. If you do, that's great. That adds some context, it adds some color, but you don't have to. The core concept I'm presenting to you is quite simple. Intense emotional reaction to something that doesn't really feel reasonable. Identifying that, that's kind of not that reasonable of a reaction. It's okay. I can have compassion for that, but it's not that reasonable. This is self coming in. Okay, yeah, interesting, I'm curious. I have compassion, but I'm curious. Like, this doesn't quite make sense. This is self right here. And then from that place, let's feel the feeling. Let the story go. Allow the emotion to be with you. And by with you, I mean with self. Self is able to hold like this, like contain this emotion, to love it, to be with it, to feel with it. There's a huge difference in being overwhelmed by a part or overwhelmed by an emotion and being able to be with it. There's a myriad of ways to do this. Just by talking about it in a video like this, for you to be listening to it, there is something that can change in you in the upcoming experiences that are inevitably waiting for you. Life is going to interact with you today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. It's going to send you these opportunities. And so just by listening to this video and holding on to a little piece of it, perhaps the curiosity, perhaps the compassion, perhaps the self-awareness, that when this interaction comes, we can step out from it, step out from the part, give a little space to the part to feel its thing, while being able to compassionately and with curiosity examine this, and then make a lot of space for it. Let it move through us. I'm not sure how well the audio can pick up the birds here. There's a woodpecker somewhere. You hear it? To that note, there's a lot of ways that the external interacts with us, and most of them are not hard. Most of them are not challenging. Most of those ways do not need to trigger us into these intense states where emotion can be unlocked so that we can more deeply feel it, process it, and integrate it. But we have to consciously choose. Again, this is activating self. We have to consciously choose to acknowledge the sun is shining and that feels good. These birds are singing and that's beautiful. I have these epic mountains behind me. I'm so blessed. And maybe a place like this, you could argue it's a little easier to connect with those things. But all of life has this magic. All of life has this beauty. Yes, make time to feel those intense feelings from a place of self. That's going to change your world. But don't forget to make time to feel the magic. Because that's the energy I think that self really runs on. And it's everywhere. Thanks for being with me today. Sending you lots of love. I'll see you in the next one.